Okay, there's a certain way I feel like sounding this evening. Like somebody who's... I'm not sure I can mimic it, all right? But hey, it's a very interesting conversation that we're set to have. Good evening and welcome to the program on radio. I mean, the best show you can ever find anywhere on radio, especially about this time. Now, if you're a young person, get your glass of wine or juice or something, or grab your cup of tea, grab your popcorn, because we're about to have a ball for the next 45 minutes. It's We the 7 to 7 on Rapower FM. Woo! Okay, today is 14th of March, 2022, and this has come to stay. It's now a mainstay here on Rapower FM every Monday from 5:05 till 5:50. It's that moment when we, the youth, actually gather and discuss topical issues that involves, the youth taking over and taking our rightful place as far as, the country as a whole is concerned. I am Oluwatosin Oshin, but of course, on this platform, you simply refer to me as the Prince. I am the Prince on radio, and this evening, as always, Samson is here. Good evening, Samson, or General, by the way.
Yeah, good evening, Prince. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Good to be on the show again.
Okay. Well, these are the voices you're going to be hearing from this side. Possibly we'll just have maybe one or two in-swingers or out-swingers, as it were, from one or two of the producers. That's our producers who are in the studio with us, Yewande Iwo, as well as EVM Yulufobi. Unfortunately, Precious is unavoidably absent this evening, but nonetheless, we're going to have a good show, I can assure you of that. So, what are we talking about today? Okay, by the way, if you're just joining us, we can just quickly let you know that this is, of course, that gathering of the young people. We've had several discussions in the past. We've talked about the youth and leadership. We've talked about youth and attitudinal change, that is. We've talked about young people, youth and innovation, talking about young people who are doing really great stuff. And last week was a special dedication to the young women because, of course, of the International Women's Day celebration, which was on March 8th. Well, before we get into what we have for today, I'd like to let you know that the We the 7 to 7 is a program that comes with funding support from the Deutsche Welle, which is a German national broadcaster, and of course is open for advert placements. You can also just reach out to the producers of We the 7 to 7 and have your brand on this lovely show. Now, today we are looking at something very interesting, which of course is both interesting and, permit me to say, worrisome at the same time. Interesting and worrisome, okay? Now, matters surrounding drug abuse and substance abuse have raised serious concerns in recent times in Nigeria. Of course, sometime last year, there was a video of secondary school girls who were seen taking and abusing drug-related substances. This video went viral, and of course, it got the attention of the Lagos State government. The girls were identified, they were found, they were sent for rehabilitation. That was the follow-up as far as that story is concerned. But come to think of it, there are several others who are out there who probably haven't gotten such attention, and of course, they're drowning in this issue of drug abuse. Today, we are looking at youth and drug abuse. Now, a 2021 study also suggests that 50% of girls between 10 and 19 and 80% of boys within the same age range are heavy on some substance abuse or the other. So, of course, like I said earlier, we're looking at youth and drug abuse today. Let's begin by looking at, of course, I have to start with you, Samson. What is your take on the problem of drug abuse amongst Nigerian youth? For me personally, I am worried.
Well, of course, it's a very worrisome and disheartening situation because a lot of Nigerian youth, are into drugs, and drug abuse isn't only about taking hard substance. When you use a drug without the doctor's prescription
is also an
abuse of drugs. So it is really worrisome when you look at the statistics and the numbers of people, young Nigerians that engage in drugs. Is a very worrisome thing, and I don't know. Youth these days, for different reasons they go into drug. Some say they get inspiration, some say for a lot of reasons whatsoever, and it's a very worrisome issue that we need to look about. It's a very worrisome issue that we need to look about, and hopefully this program will be educative and help a lot of people out of the drug abuse.
Okay, now we have talked so much about, the youth taking up leadership. As a matter of fact, our pilot edition on this, We the 77 program centered on youth and leadership. And of course, we've established over the months, over the weeks, and over the years in Nigeria that the youth need to take their rightful place in leadership. But if this high number of young people, you get on the street and it appears almost everybody is doing it. If you get on the street and you're not doing drugs or alcohol, you look like you're the outcast. It's almost feeling like you're the bad guy.
Yeah, that's true.
So how do these young people take positions of leadership if they're high on drugs?
Yeah, this question is a really jamming question. There was one time I also thought about it that, we say we youth are the leaders of tomorrow, but amongst the youth, like majority are into drugs and abusing the drugs. So I look at it like, how do we want to become the leaders of tomorrow when this is what the majority people are into? How do you want to become the leaders of tomorrow? And it's so saddening that a lot of people go into it through many influence and through pressure. I think we need to really educate ourselves. We need to tell each other how bad it is, the disadvantage of taking drug abuse.
But come to think about it, now you said the disadvantages of taking drugs.
Yeah, the side effect. Yeah,
we talk a lot about drug abuse.
Yes.
But to some extent, maybe there are even older people who take some of these drugs for recreational purposes. Because at the end of the day, the challenge here is the abuse of the drugs.
Yes. Of course, all drugs are medicinal, and they are for a certain purpose. But when the problem now is the abuse, like you said, the problem now is the abuse. That is why I said we need to re-educate ourselves about not abusing these drugs. Is medicinal, for example, marijuana. Everybody knows is medicinal and is into most of regular drugs. Yeah. So, but when people go ahead
popular
to take
codeine as well.
Codeine, yes. There are regular drugs. There are regular drugs. But when people go ahead to take high dosage of it, that's when it becomes an abuse.
I know that I'm talking about what the government in Nigeria has done. The issue of codeine, sometime last year or maybe 2 years ago, it was banned.
Yeah, it was
But of course,
banned.
that's just one out of so many drugs that are being abused.
Yeah, for me, I think the government, thankfully, the new NDLA chairman,
That's
is really more peculiar on that. For me, before I don't really think the government. For me, to my own opinion, I don't think the government are doing much when it comes to this issue.
Addressing the issues.
Yes, they are not doing much. But thank God for the new emergence, the emergence of the new chairman of the NDLA. I think he is in the right step, and hopefully we'll be able to curtail or reduce the number of drug abusers in Nigeria.
Well, it doesn't rest on the shoulders of the NDLEA chairman alone. Even if we have been able to make some baby steps, we're just going to progress those steps by contributing our own quota and having, such conversations as this. But then we'll get to the streets now to find out from young people why it appears that we have increasing number of young people who are taking to drugs and substance abuse. You can also join the conversation. You can reach out to us 09060007041. Once again, 09060007041. And still to come on the program today, we'll talk to someone who's been there and, thankfully been able to come out of it, because I hear coming out of those abuses or coming out of such addiction is a really, really, Herculean task. If we have to go to church, it actually takes a miracle, the special grace of God to be able to come out of it.
Rehab centers, and some people.
And there's always a relapse.
Yeah, and some people, unlucky for them, they don't really recover, and some is the end of their life. So,
Okay, like I said, we would hear from somebody who's been there, done it all, and then, came out of it. And of course, we would also hear from a medical doctor who, for so many years of our life, has worked on, working with people who have been inflicted, if we have to put it that way, with this thing called drug abuse. But first, let's get on the streets and find out what the young people think about the problem of drug abuse.
Most people feel taking drugs can solve their problem. Everybody's going through one or two things because they feel it is a solution to their problem, which is not. It's just a very temporary solution.
One of the major things I know is peer pressure. I personally have been in such situations whereby at times I feel I'm drawn into some certain things because of what my friends do or what they want to do as a group. It's majorly peer pressure pressure, because most people have that issue of saying no to seeing their friends do bad things. Most times they want to feel among and really experience what it's like.
I feel youth go into drug because of peer pressure and to suppress mental stress, mental anxiety.
Young people go into drugs sometimes based on peer pressure from their friends and family, and then based on maybe trying to escape depression. Nowadays, some people say if you are depressed, just take this thing. You just get high and forget about your troubles.
Most of the drugs they take is to make them high, more active. Most of them take it to make them think and all those kind of things. And some just abuse it for no reason. They just abuse it.
So people take it for inspiration and motivation to be courageous, to be bold, to talk to anyone, and they'll put themselves in trouble. So I urge youth nowadays to stop this drug of a thing, because it damages the lungs, the liver. There are no good results to it.
All right, there you heard it from the young people, countless reasons. And, going by some of the things that we heard, the young people are equally, maybe those who are not taking it are equally worried about the prevalence of, this whole drug abuse, as it were, amongst young people. But in all of this, can we possibly make a case for those who take it for recreational purposes? Like we have said, like we have established in the course of the conversation, there is not... it's not like the drugs in themselves are actually bad. It's the abuse of these drugs, that gives us that combination of, that phrase, drug abuse. Yeah. So can we possibly make a case for those who use it possibly in the right proportion, or use it for medicinal or recreational purposes and all that?
Yeah, it comes to this question too, that should marijuana be legalized? Because I think the abuse come from... for me, or from what I've known from some people that I do.
The Ondo State governor will be interested in this part.
Yeah, because they actually came out openly to say it should be legalized. So for me, I think majority, some, let me say some, it comes from, some of the abuse comes from this unlegalized of marijuana. They take it, they purchase it through the let me say black market, and then they stock it, they pile it up. And so for me, I feel if it's in the open, you get, if it's in the open, of course, it might not be abused. You can only buy.
We are not disciplined enough to not abuse it. I beg. Let it be.
No, you can't say that. I would disagree. For
most
me,
young people,
yes,
I would say that I'm a young person as well, and I must say that we are not disciplined enough. We haven't showed enough discipline to say, okay, the federal government should allow us to have drugs all over the place. From what
angle are you coming from?
From the young people and the abuse that we see all over the place.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, because it's not legalized, can also be a reason why it's being abused. Yes, you need to look at it from that.
Because it's not legalized, that's why it's abused.
For example, marijuana.
Help me understand it.
No. You don't get what I say. Some people go through the black. I say they get it from the black market, okay, and then they stock it up. They stock the drug up, and again. So for me, I think if it's in the open, like if it's being legalized, there will be discipline. If social age can take it, and with prescriptions, of course, it can be legalized. And for me, there can be guidance to it. There can be laws that will curtail the abuse of it. For me, I think if it's legalized, it can hopefully reduce.
When Samson launches his political career, hope you are seeing the kind of things he's going to legalize. So let's make sure. Well, okay, now over the weekend, or I think it was last week, there was also a case of a Nigerian pastor who was arrested with drugs at the Lagos airport. We hear he was supposed to be away on spiritual assignment for 3 weeks, and because he couldn't do without those drugs, here you are talking about us legalizing it. But here is somebody who is expected to be a man of God. This thing has so taken over him that he cannot do without it for 3 weeks.
God, when I saw the news, I was shocked. Like a supposedly man of God, and he's involved in this practice. So for me, that case, when I saw it, I said, this particular man that is always against pastors, he has given him another topic to talk about. It's a sad one, honestly, it's a sad one. And I was I was not happy when I saw the news. Like someone who the youth should be looking up to, someone who should be mentoring people, and now he's caught in the act. No, it's really a sad one. It's a sad one.
Okay, we'd like you to also join this conversation. Let's hear what's your take on youth and drug abuse. What's your assessment of maybe the level of involvement? Are you equally worried? Like I said at the beginning of the show, that personally I am very worried as far as the issue of drug abuse and especially alcohol amongst young people is concerned. You can feel free to join us. 090-6000-7041 is the number to call. Once again, that is 090-6000-7041. Now, another while we wait to have our guests, we have to also look at the issue of drug abuse on our campuses. We had a reporter go around, get a report about as far as drug abuse as a problem on campus is concerned, and this is what the young people had to say.
I would say 99% of we students in our school, if they come and test us, almost everybody will be positive, because the bad ones who are taking drugs or who are smoking, when we the good ones we are passing will be inhaling it. And as of last month, a guy died of, I think, the inhale stuff, because we were like their neighbors, and every night, I don't know, maybe the guy used to go and bath, like we have a bathroom there, but those ones, they will be smoking, and they've complained that if you want to do this thing, you can go to another place. This school is not only for you guys, but we heard that the guy died of this inhaling stuff. So I just hope and I pray anything drug will stop.
Some students are on prescribed drugs, but they do not know that some of those substances contain a little of hard drugs. And when they take that, with due time, they become addictive to it. And with the more intake of drugs, they become addicted. And that is when they start to abuse the drug and, use it for other substances. You can see someone mixing a cough syrup with a chest pain medicine, mixing different kind of drugs together.
Okay. Talking about the problem of drug abuse on campus, I think I pick it up from where the first guy said, if you test all of us on this campus, 99% of us would actually test for drugs. And immediately I heard that, the first reaction was, all of you are taking it. And then he went ahead to say, not just because everybody's taking drugs, but because the number of people who are taking it and puffing it into the air, there are secondary there are people who are taking it as a secondary dose as well, who are also one way or the other, they are taking in drugs.
That's marijuana.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's true because of the smoke. If you're around the person smoking it, or you tend to get. From smoke, you tend to inhale. When you inhale, of course, you have drugs in your bloodstream. So, what about coke and other substances?
They have different names.
Codeine, tramadol, abuse. There are so many. Canadian loud. So in fact,
you are more in tune with these things than myself.
It's on the internet. It's on the internet. Well, when I was 7, let me say 70% of my roommates they were into drugs. But for you to know how high the number of drug abuse takers.
Okay, we have someone joining us on the line now. We're just going to remain anonymous as far as the identity is concerned, but he's someone who's done it as far as drug abuse is concerned, and thankfully he's been able to retrace from those steps. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us on We the 77. Hello. 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 Okay, we're gonna have to rework the lines to get him back on board.
The ones I mentioned. What other drugs do you know?
Me, I'm a Jesus boy. I don't know any drugs. When you say drugs, the only things that come to my mind are the
paracetamol.
That's all I know.
I can't take that. I won't take that. I know that's not true. You're on the internet. You see these things.
Cough medicine.
So you can't say
medicine for body pain. Medicine for headache.
Medicine for stomach pain.
My brother. That's all I know. That they call drugs.
Do you abuse it?
Me, I don't even take anyone.
So you take it on your doctor's prescription?
I am one who feels that water heals, water and rest.
Water.
So most times it takes a whole lot to make me take drugs. I hardly take drugs, even the medicinal drugs.
So even when you are down, you take water?
I take water and sleep.
Okay, I'll experiment it.
Okay, we have our guest joining us now. Are you there? Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us on We the 77. What name do I want to give you a name now. Okay, well, we'll just move along. Let's begin with, briefly, tell us your experience with drugs.
Okay, good evening once again. My experience with drugs has been for a very long time, for close to 15 years now. 10 to 15 years now. I started when I just finished my WAEC examination. That time, when we were small, we just finished WAEC, so we went for a party, after party. Then from there, somebody just called me and told me, "Come, Jimmy, I want to show you something." So I now followed him. So as I followed him, he stood there, he rolled it up. I was asking questions that, what is this? He said, "Don't worry, to make you feel better, to make you feel good. You will enjoy yourself after it. You'll be able to talk to girls well, you'll be able to do things well." So I was like, anything that will make me talk to girls, because at that time I was interested in girls plenty. So I was like, anything that will make me talk to girls well, let me take it. So I took it. After taking it, I got high. When I got high, I liked the feeling. So I clinged on to the feeling for a very long time. And that was where I got myself into drugs. And that's where I started doing it. And it all started with just simple SK. From SK, we graduated to Loud, to Colorado, or whatever drugs are outside there.
Okay, you know what? I know we can't possibly tell the story of 10 to 15 years in 5 minutes or thereabouts, but would like to touch on different aspects of that journey. You said, there was a promise of, he's going to make you confident enough to talk to girls, he's going to make you feel this way, he's going to make you feel good and all that. Did taking drugs deliver on all those promises for you?
Well, it delivered because I was able to talk to girls. I was able to get them to do my bidding. And luckily too, when I was taking the drugs, I started meeting girls too that take drugs too. So it became easier. So I looked at it so I started going for girls that take drugs more, because we have something in common.
Okay, so at what point in your journey did it then dawn on you that, look, there's possibly something wrong with this way of feeling good and this way of getting high and this way of being confident? At what point in your journey did you realize that, look, that there seems to be a problem here?
Okay. For a while, I was when I started taking it, I was saying to myself that I can control it. And there's a control. That is not just one stick daily. But we all know this issue of drugs is very, very difficult to control, especially if we are addicted to it. Very, very addicted to it. Because for me, when I got addicted and I got really, really into it, it became a problem, a big problem for me. I could not, in the society, when somebody is talking to me, I'm either so very, very high that I can't even remember what he said or whatever the person is saying. I will go to work, they'll be telling me some things, my boss will be telling me some things. I'll be so high that I'll have forgotten what the assignment he gave me, or things that I'm meant to do. I'll not be remembering later when I'm sober. And again, so when it got to one point when I could not control myself anymore, I sorted out help. I went to go and meet my dad. I told him that I needed help. I'm into drugs. And there's been an addiction for the past 10 to 15 years. I told him all the whole story, and he looked at me and he said, okay, the first step is that you came out and said you needed help. That's the first step. That's no problem, that you give me help. And I'm here in the rehabilitation home. I'm receiving help. So far, I've been feeling good. If people tell you that you cannot do without drugs, it's a lie. You can do without drugs. Drugs is not something that they give birth to us with. It's going to be there after we leave this life. And we met it in this life, on this earth. And it's going to be there after we leave the earth. So I would just employ most people that I need to either seek help to help them to stop, or they should just stop it on their own.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that advice. I want to ask you a question. From what you just said, there's this popular belief that when you take drugs, you'll be confident, you'll be able to speak anyhow, and it will in fact improve your output if you're at work. So, with what you explained, are you saying that is not true? Are you trying to tell us that that's not true?
It is not true, because it is going to. Let me give you a breakdown. From the beginning, when you start taking the drugs, when you start putting it together with your work or your studies or whatever, it will be giving you results. But after a while, when you have gotten so addicted to it, because you will now get to a point that you'll be like, if I want to read, I need to take it. And you'll be deceiving yourself, because the moment you read like 30 minutes, after like 30 minutes, you will just find a friend or something will just minister to you in your mind and tell you that go and take it again. You go and take it again. So thereby, are you giving output? You're not giving output now. And by the time you take it finish, some of all these drugs, by the time we take it and we overdose on it, we tend to become useless. We become lazy. Some of us sleep off.
Okay.
Some of us sleep off.
Sorry, in the course of your earlier response, you talked about, I'm interested in that point where you knew and you decided that this was a problem and you had to do something about it. And of course, the first step, as your dad said, was, being able to come out to say, look, Dad, I have this as a problem. But going by the things that you have described about what goes on in the minds and in the life of whoever is taking drugs, how did you manage to keep it for 10 to 15 years that your family, who you lived with, did not know until you came out?
Well, I wasn't from when I finished secondary school, I was shipped up to the university. So I was on campus for a very long time. So I tend to do it on campus. And when I come home, I have friends around. I have friends places I do it. I go there, I go and do it. I satisfy my addiction. I also do it in my bathroom, in the house. Before anybody comes back home, I've sprayed everywhere. I've aired everywhere so that nothing will be smelling. And that was the way I was able to hide it from my parents for a very long time. But there had been issues where they had been suspecting, because some people around the area who have been telling them that, I saw your son at this place. I saw your son at that place. I saw your son at that place. And they will come and meet me at home and tell me, Lagbaja said I saw you at the drug dealer place. I hope you're not taking drugs. I'll say, no, Daddy, God forbid, I'm not taking drugs. It's a lie. Me, how will I take drugs? Me, that I have so many examples of people that took drugs. You tell me, no problem. My mom will say, it's a lie. It's a lie. He's taking drugs. He's taking it. Because my mom was like, she was like, she did not believe me. She was the first person in the house that did not believe me. So because of that, I used to have a lot of problems with her whenever I take drugs.
Okay, we could go on and on, like I said, and unfortunately, because of time, we have to stop now. But what is you are still on that journey of coming back. But what is your advice for anyone who has probably told the same path like you have done and wants to come out?
Okay, like I said earlier, the first step that makes you employ such a person is that you need to come outside and you need to identify that you have a problem. Because if you cannot identify that you have a problem, because trust me, in the rehabilitational home, if we don't identify that we have a problem within ourselves, the doctors and the medical practitioners cannot do their job. They will not be able to do their job because somebody that has a mind that is telling you that is not sick and is sick, and everybody can see that he's sick, and he's telling everybody that he's not sick. He's not sick. So such a person cannot receive help. But if you come outside with the clear mind that, okay, I am sick, I need help, I need to further my life, because this thing doesn't. In the long run, it doesn't allow us to achieve what we want to do in life, because it's not something we can come outside to say proudly that we do. Something that you do in hiding. So I will employ all of us. I will employ those of us that are on drugs to come outside to our friends, seek them, confide in them. They are ready to help. Of which, if you tell them first of all, they might be angry. There's nobody that will be angry. That will not be angry. So tell them that you need help, and they will. And I'm sure it's only somebody that doesn't love his child or will not want to help him. Within a twinkle of an eye, they will help you. You seek help. You go to a rehabilitational home. You rehabilitate you. Of which, yes, you be prepared to stay out of the society for a while, and to time out, so that you'll be able to receive treatment. So when you are receiving treatment, you'll be able to go outside and then conquer all the things that you want to do.
Okay, let's just wrap it up there. Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us on We the 77, and we wish you all the best on your journey, to redemption, total redemption, as it were. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, that was it. You heard it from someone who's seen it and done it. If I were into drugs, just hearing him speak alone is enough reason to say, look, I'm done with this.
Yes, a lot of people have this mindset that when they come out, the society is going to castigate them. Everybody is going to condemn them. But here he's saying that come out, like people are willing to help.
I like what he said.
Yeah,
he said, come out. They may condemn you at first, but eventually they will join you in that process of getting help, provided you have come out to say, I need help.
That's the key word. They need to come out first and show willingness that you are ready to drop this. And people are there. People are there to support, and that is the key word. People are there to support.
Okay, let's see how big a problem this whole thing is. We'll come back to take some of your calls. She's not here today, but she put together some facts and figures as far as the problem of drug abuse in the world and, of course, in Nigeria is concerned. Take a listen. Here is Precious.
Hello. Here are some facts and figures relating to drug abuse around the world and here in Nigeria. According to the 2021 World Drug Report released by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, around 275 million people use drugs worldwide in the year in review, and over 36 million people suffered from drug use disorders. Between 2010 to 2019, the number of people using drugs increased by 22%. Current projections suggest an 11% rise globally by 2030 and a 40% rise in Africa due to the rapidly growing and young population. In Nigeria, this would signify that the country will have to grapple with approximately 20 million drug users by 2030. Still in Nigeria, the 2018 National Drug Use Survey revealed that the country's numbers are currently slightly higher than the world average, with over 14 million drug users in the country and about 3 million of them suffering from drug use disorder. Recent reports suggest the problem of drug abuse in the country has caught a bug amongst women in northern Nigeria, the northwest and north central being the most prevalent. In fact, unofficial reports suggest that 1 in every 3 women in Kaduna State abuses one substance or the other.
Very, very disturbing figures there as far as drug abuse in the world and in Nigeria, and then, of course, in the northern part of Nigeria is concerned. Let's now join our reporter in Kaduna State to give us maybe a brief of the situation in the north.
34-year-old Gabriel Daniel spent 14 years of his life as a drug addict before quitting. His cravings for drugs started as a 15-year-old secondary school boy.
I couldn't get admission into the whole thing, got me depressed. I went into drugs just to cool my head. I took syrups, codeine, cocaine, skunks, and weed. Once I take the drug, I disassociate myself from people. I just feel different from other people. Feel high and just the highness, that is the satisfaction.
Like Gabriel, Denju Majita also shared the ugly past as a substance abuser.
When I take it, I'll be even versing with anybody around me because our heart and our thinking is different. I take Dizzy, Exol. There is one they call it Zakami. I haven't joined that, but that was then.
They both speak on the effects of drug abuse.
Drugs is no good at all. You end up killing vital system, your kidneys, your lungs, you end up destroying them.
Your vein will be weak. You will not even get a strength or even a heart to do something better.
The story of Gabriel and Denjuma is just one out of many in Nigeria where drug abuse is now prevalent, especially in the country's northern region. Dr. Ike Milestone, an expert who has been rehabilitating drug addicts, says available data reveals that 14.3 million Nigerians engage in drug abuse, with the Northwest and North Central accounting for more than 30% of drug abuse in Nigeria.
In 2018, the UNODC conducted the first ever comprehensive household survey, the largest, most comprehensive survey of issues related to drug use in Nigeria. The demographic that one would expect to be involved in drug use are adolescents, but in Nigeria we have that age group is slightly older than just adolescents. Are there issues peculiar to northern Nigeria and other aspects of Nigeria with relations to drug use and response to drug use? The answer is an absolute yes.
Director General, Kaduna State Bureau for Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment, Dr. Joseph Megari, blamed the rise on lack of good parental upbringing.
1/3 of our women in Kaduna State have drug abuse problems. So it's a very serious problem. We continue to project, we see the effect is limitless in terms of how it impacts on parenting and on having those values and norms that the children we should have. The problem of drug is huge, and so the solution must also be huge to ensure that we get interventions at every point so that our people can be adequately sensitized to prevent new cases of drug abuse. And for those who already have this problem, they can also find treatment and care.
Although Gabriel and Denjuma overcame their addiction, millions of Nigerian youths are still caught in the web of substance abuse. Josephine Cyril, Rapower, Kaduna.
Okay, there we have it. There's so many talking points from that. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I'm getting feelers that we would have to continue this conversation next week. We're going to have a part 2 next week. There were issues of parental failure. I know we have something prepared on this whole drug abuse thing. There's no way you can exonerate the parents from this. We've had instances where at a young age you have fathers or even mothers sending their children to go buy cigarettes and stuff
alcohol,
and that's where these things begin.
Yes, and again, the alarming thing is how rampant it is in young ladies also. I think that will be touchlight in the next episode.
Okay, 09060007041. Let's welcome your contribution as we also work the lines to get our guest, who's a chief nursing officer, who's joining us. Hello, good evening. Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Chidozie calling from Ojo, Alaba.
Chidozie from Ojo, Alaba. Thank you very much for joining us. What's your take on the subject matter?
I've been thinking how to stop the drug, but the thing is not really working out. Sure. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I've been into drug now for 3 years now. but I'm taking out to stop it. It's not working out.
Okay, Chidozie. Okay, just hold on, stay on the line, or keep listening to the program. We'll give out a number before we wrap up that you can call, and then would progress conversations from there. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Chidozie, you can simply send a text message to 081 1181 3029. That's again 081 1181 3029, and we would take it up from there. Okay, so shortly we are working the lines now. We would have joining us the Chief Nursing Officer at the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba. She's also a certified drug prevention and treatment expert. Eze Veronica Ogochukwu would be with us in a minute. Let's see who is on the phone. Hello. Hello, good evening. Hello. Okay, you're going to have to call back. Hello, good evening. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mo.
Sorry?
My name is Mo.
Laura. Laura. Okay, you're calling from where?
Yeah, I'm calling from Lagos.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, I think I'm enjoying the program a lot. But the thing is, I think I have not gotten that point of destruction because of drug abuse. And when I see people get to that point, I feel pity for them. But then I think I've not gotten to that point. It's been goodies for me. It brings good luck and all for me. And I don't know how people get to that point, but I don't know. I don't want to get to that point.
Okay, so you are saying now that you actually take drugs, but it's been all good for you, and you don't see it as
Makes
any...
me think very well. It gives me results, and it's been good. And I've been able to control it. I don't look like someone that abuses drugs. I look like a normal person. I do my thing, good job. Everything is just normal for me.
How many years have you been to drugs?
I think 6 years.
You've been hooked for 6 years, and you have no negative repercussions, as it were.
At all. So I don't know how people get to that point, but I don't want to get to that point at all.
Okay, we're just going to pass this straight on to, thank you very much, Laura, by the way. We're going to pass this straight on to the Chief Nursing Officer, Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba, a certified drug prevention and treatment expert, Eze Veronica Ogochukwu. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us on We the 7 to 7.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, now, the point where I'm coming to you is one that I'm finding hard to wrap around my head. Laura just called in. She called in from Lagos, and she said she's been taking drugs for about 6 years, but she hasn't reached the point where she needs help, or she hasn't reached the point of addiction. She says she even wonders how people get to that point. She also says she feels for those who have gotten to that point. Do you see any red flags in her story?
Oh, it's very, very possible. It's very possible. One, depending on what she's taking. Secondly, depending on the dose. And thirdly, depending on her tolerance.
From your experience, is it that easy to control all of these things?
Well, it's not really easy. If she has not gotten to a level of full addiction, it could be easy for her to be managing. But once she becomes a full-blown addicted individual, then there will surely be a problem.
Okay, doctor, should we take Laura's case as maybe 1 in a million cases? Because most of the times, for a lot of people who, of course, the information that gets out, who take drugs, they usually get to the point where it becomes a problem.
I won't say it's 1 in a million. Like I told you earlier, possibly she's not taking high dose or combined dose. They call them multi-substance abusers, where they combine tablet, the downer, the higher, the opioid. Some combine use. There is no way she'll be a combined user and still stand that tall for a very long time. Remember, in the past, many of our parents took this substance for years. Nobody knew because the substance combination was not there. If she was really combining the substances, definitely by now she would have been down.
So, doctor, you're saying is just the combination that is a problem. But because I hear that if possibly, let's just use numbers now. That's the easiest way I can describe it. If you take 1 to achieve a particular level of high or highness, as it were, you will require 2 to reach that same level of highness the next time, and then the next time you require 3 to reach that same level of highness. I think we've lost
the more you go, your body develops tolerance. You understand? The little dose you give it is no longer enough. You want to increase to get initial satisfaction you got in the beginning.
All right, doctor. Moving away from Laura, I want to ask you your experience in this video when it comes to rehabilitation. How long does it take for one who is totally damaged to recover, or is there any high chance that it might lead to death?
Well, it depends on the substance itself and the time. Remember, injectable are fast. It's not the one you snuff to is fast compared to the IV. Sorry. Compared to injectables, and then compared to tablets or syrup. So the time they take, their half-life time differs. And depending on the half-life time, when you give IV, it's very, very fast for you to achieve a highness compared to person that just takes like tramadol, or compared to person that takes cocaine or heroin.
Okay, Dr. Eze Veronica, we have to let you go now. Not because we're tired of hearing your voice. We are out of time, but I want to plead that we are going to have you again next week because we're having a second part of this. We have to look at, the journey through the whole rehabilitation process and then, of course, at what point one needs to seek help and so many other angles to this conversation of drug abuse amongst young people.
No problem.
All right.
I'll be waiting till next week.
Okay, thank you so much. We can't wait to have you.
Once again, I'm an assistant director of nursing.
Oh, okay, assistant director of nursing.
Yes, an addiction expert anyway.
Okay, all right. All of that is noted, and we look forward to getting a bit more of your expertise on the show next week. Thank you very much.
Thanks for inviting me.
Dr. Eze Veronica.
Bye.
All right. Okay, as predicted at the beginning, there's no way we could possibly have, exhausted all of this within 45 minutes.
Even I myself, I'm entertained on this show. I'm wowed.
I am wowed.
Yeah, I'm wowed. I'm wowed by Laura. I'm wowed by for 6 years. Wow. And I don't know. I think doctor needs to educate us on if she's saying someone from 6 years.
Is it possible for somebody to be high and having a problem with it? I'm saying no, I'm fine. I'm okay.
I'm confused to deny. Okay, denial. Yeah, denial is possible. But I'm confused. Like from what doctor said, someone with 6 years and she's saying it's possible she might not be addicted yet.
And she also said when you take 1 to get a level of highness, you require 2 the next time to get that same level. So it's almost a given that anybody who takes 1 would get drawn into it.
Yes. Wow.
We have to go. We have to go now. But like I said, there's so many other angles to this. We would also want to hear from you. As such, we are continuing this conversation next week. All right, from the entire production team, by the way, this has been We the 77, a program brought to you with support funding from Deutsche Welle, which is actually a German national broadcaster. We also would like to let you know that this program is open for sponsorship and advert placements. You can do that by reaching out to the producer. Once again, Chidozie, you can please send a text message to 081-1181-3029. Once again, 081-1181-3029. We look forward to hearing from you, and then of course we'll pick up from there as to how we can possibly be of help. Like I said, the conversation continues next week. Say a big thank you to the production team of Ibiyemi Olufobi, who have as well as Yewande Iwoha, who have been joint producers on this. The production assistants, Toyosi Ogunride, as well as Ronke Adetono. Big shout out to Samson as well.
Yeah, what a interesting program and educated. And my name is Samson. We'll see you next week.
Okay. Thank you to Josephine, who sent in a report from Kaduna. Hopefully, we'll be able to get something from there again next week. And then a shout out to Precious, who also is a part of the Lagos team. I am Oluwatosin Oshin signing out.